Hey now, welcome back Pokemon trainers. This is your friendly neighborhood Bullados, and today we are at round 4 in the Pokemon VGC Premier Challenge Omega Series at 2DCon. We're in round 4. On stream we have at the bottom of your screen Sam, Benvidi, and on the top we have Steven Burton. We saw Steven's team a little bit earlier in this tournament. We're not going to go over that too much. Sam, I saw, had a Whimsicott when we were going through his team earlier. So we're going to start this battle off. It's very likely. Let's see what we have to go with. Sam is going to start off with his Whimsicott and a floating Therian form Landorus. Steven's going to start off pretty standard with his Kangaskhan and Smeargle. Got an Intimidate, which is dropping the attack of both of Steven's Pokemon. Whimsicott is going to start with a Tailwind, while Landorus... Is that going to be an Earthquake or a U-turn? He's just going to straight out switch. I would have at least used U-turn. Why would he not use U-turn? Unless he's trying to play some speed game. Thinks that either the Smeargle or the Kangaskhan, probably the Kangaskhan, is faster than the Landorus. But U-turning the Smeargle would not be a bad play. Looks like Kangaskhan is going to Mega Evolve. I'm pretty certain that this Kangaskhan has Sucker Punch, I think. Fake Out. It's the one that flinches the opponent. So Whimsicott is going to flinch. Loses less than a quarter of its HP. Landorus drops down a Rock Slide. We're probably going to drop Kangaskhan to a third. Less than a third. Smeargle down to less than a half. Whimsicott is once again going to try to set up its Tailwind, while the Landorus is going to drop another Rock Slide. Steven's Smeargle drops a Spiky Shield, which protects itself and does more damage. The Whimsicott dropped down an Encore, which is going to force that Kangaskhan to use Fake Out over and over and over again. Fake Out is going to fail because it's not the first turn of Kangaskhan's battle anymore. That means that Steven is very likely going to switch out the Kangaskhan for the next turn. I'm pretty certain that Encore lasts for at least 5 turns. So I didn't see what attack Sam was going to use. However, we already know that he's got a Tailwind on his Pokemon because he used it last turn. No, he didn't use a Tailwind. Tailwind is not set up on his Pokemon, which means that he's probably going to use it this turn. There goes the Kangaskhan. Ludicolo is coming out. That's a bit of a surprise. I would not have expected the Ludicolo to come out until Politoed had set up its rain. So there's Politoed's Drizzle setting up the rain. And now Ludicolo is going to start regenerating health. And Rock Slide missed both Pokemon. Moonblast to the Politoed, although that's not what he was planning on doing. Now he's going to set up the Tailwind. Landorus he's trying to switch out the Landorus. He's debating on whether he's going to switch it out for Chestnut, and there's Chestnut. He brought Chestnut and Zapdos with him into the battle, Sam did. Sam on the bottom of your screen, switching out Landorus for Chestnut. Steven, more than likely, used a couple of water attacks against that particular spot. However, it would not surprise me if there were a couple of ice attacks being used there. A couple of water attacks, but Chestnut got burned, which drops his attack down, and there's an Ice Beam on the Whimsicott, which is going to knock it out. It doesn't knock it out. I thought Whimsicott was 4x weak to ice. That got very close, though. That's Fake Tears. Moonblast. I don't know what each of these attacks do, unfortunately. We're going to Moonblast to the Politoed. Something else to the Politoed. Sam is very afraid of that Politoed. But Chestnut is very likely going to get... well, actually, because Tailwind is set up, both Chestnut and Whimsicott are going to move before the Ludicolo and Politoed. So Sam could very well get a knockout before Steven is able to unleash both his attacks. And we know that Steven has a couple of ice attacks that he's got ready to go, which either one of those would knock out either one of these two Pokemon that Sam has out. But it's going to withdraw the Politoed and send out a Smeargle. Very likely that Smeargle is going to get knocked out this turn. Moonblast to Smeargle, which knocks it out. Ludicolo uses Ice Beam, which will do a lot of damage to Chestnut, though not quite knock it out. Chestnut uses Wood Hammer, drops Ludicolo down to, still has about 2/3 of its own health, but Chestnut takes Recoil, gets hurt by Burn, it's probably going to get, not going to get knocked out. I didn't see the recoil damage from earlier. I forget that it pops up the notice after the damage has already been applied. Kangaskhan comes out, is already in Mega form. It's very likely going to... really doesn't matter which attack it uses. That Chestnut is knocked out. It just doesn't know it yet. Going to Drain Punch on Kangaskhan, which is a weird move to use. But he thinks he's going to try and survive this turn. Unfortunately, the Burn already drops down his attack, as far as I recall. Whimsicott switches out. Going to send out a Zapdos. He's going to try and use a combination of pressure and more Tailwinding. There goes the Ice Beam to knock out Chestnut. And Sam ends this turn without an attack. Steven is then using the opportunity to power up Punch and raise Kangaskhan's attack by 2 levels. Sam now has to switch out one of his Pokemon, and it looks like he's bringing back the Landorus, which is still a problem for him because he knows that Steven is using... He still has 1, if not 2... No, he still has 1 Water-type Pokemon left, which is going to give that Landorus some problems. Landorus attacks Ludicolo and knocks it out. Landorus switches out with U-turn. That's how he knocked it out. Whimsicott is going to come back out for Sam and Kangaskhan. Thunderbolt hits before Kangaskhan can attack. Kangaskhan holds on by the skin of its teeth off of a critical hit. Uses Return to hit Zapdos, who uses a Citrus Berry to restore some health. It's not going to matter because Kangaskhan's second attack is enough to knock out the Zapdos. Both teams should be down to 2 Pokemon apiece. Got a Whimsicott with virtually no health and a fully powered Landorus against a Kangaskhan with virtually no health and a 3/4 full Politoed. Politoed is very likely going to use a water attack immediately against that Landorus. So that Landorus will need to get off its attack, or it's going to need to switch out. Unfortunately, it can't. There's only 2 guys left. Whimsicott needs to figure out how it's going to survive with 17 HP left. I'm pretty certain that Whimsicott will attack first. So it could use Tailwind, but it looks like it's using a Moonblast. It really wants to get rid of that Politoed. Uses Rock Slide, knocks out Kangaskhan. The Ice Beam will knock out Landorus. Politoed is down to less than half of its health. And Whimsicott just has this Moonblast to hit the Politoed. Doesn't knock it out, so it's very likely that the Politoed's speed is going to be enough to knock out Whimsicott. Ice Beam onto Whimsicott, going to knock it out. And Steven wins this battle by a score of 1 Pokemon remaining to none. Thank you guys for watching this video game challenge, premiere challenge, at 2D Con here in Bloomington, Minnesota. Hope to see you next time. We'll be showing you the top cut of this Premier Challenge Omega Series tournament.